So we are encouraged to delight and honor the Lord with what we say and do. And in our gospel story, we have Jesus preaching the Sermon on the Mount. And we had talked about in the last couple of weeks the difference between the Sermon on the Plain and the Sermon on the Mount. And here we have the most famous sermon that he ever preached, Sermon on the Mount, and the teachings of almsgiving, which is giving charity in order to be seen by others is not the right way to do it. And there's a term that we have in this modern age called virtue signaling. Have you heard of this? This is when people are posting things on social media so that they look good, so that they align themselves with a movement that they might not necessarily believe in or be a part of, but they want to look good. That's called virtue signaling. Or praying in public is the other thing Jesus was pointing out, because there were so many people in his time, especially among his people, who were praying so that they looked good. They weren't necessarily praying from their hearts. They were doing it so that everyone was like, oh, look how righteous they are. And of course, we have that the Lord was encouraging them to focus on the Lord, to get closer to the Lord, to communicate in secret in a way in which God can hear your heart, and not all about you being seen. And he points this out with the example of the Lord's Prayer. This is how we're to pray. And then he also pointed out that fasting had become a theatrical event, just like Isaiah had pointed out. Jesus was saying the same thing. Don't fast to look all sad so people feel bad for you, but to fast to cleanse your body, minds, and spirits so that you can get right with God. And so what we do in private and what we do even in public, as long as we're doing it with the intentions of doing what the Lord wants us to, that God honors that. And so we should do all that we can to get right with God. And that the Lord points out the differences between treasure, because in the Bible, the Septuagint Bible, we get the wisdom, lay up your treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it will profit you more than gold. And Jesus alluded to the true value of treasure is where it is located. Heaven on earth is not the same as having your treasure in heaven, which is pointing out what does God value the most. That's what we should focus our treasure on. And that if we're looking for buried treasure, we're just fools searching for lost gold and riches that we may never find. And so at the beginning of Lent, this Ash Wednesday, we're asking the Lord to explore our hearts. Help us to be in touch with the treasure of our hearts, whether it's love, family, friends, the community, and the Lord God himself. And we have some examples of what we can do and not do. Now, some people give something up for Lent, and then another way of exploring Lent and celebrating it is to add something to your life. So here's some examples. You can exercise a little bit more to take care of the body that the Lord has given you. That make it intentional to do something different. Maybe go for a walk. Hopefully it'll stay warmer. I don't know, the next couple days it might be a little colder, but hopefully spring is here and we can get out and enjoy the sunshine and get some exercise.